This is the Nightwolf howling at you, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Masterverse He-Man Slushhead figure. This figure originally comes from the New Adventures of He-Man series that came out, I believe, in the 90s. Not exactly a sequel to the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe from the 80s. I think that has a lot to do with the different rights that surrounded He-Man and She-Ra and what a huge mess all that is. But anyway, Slushhead here is the scaly Space Mutant enforcer. Whereas his comrades are notorious for their ruthlessness in combat, and a simple Slushhead enters battle with what can only be described as childish glee. Second in command to Flog, the Space Mutants' field commander may be simple, but there are few in the universe more dangerous than the grotesque swamp water breathing Slushhead. And he's got lots of little mechanical bits there, kind of like we're trying to rip off Doctor Octopus from Spider-Man to a certain extent. But let's take a look at him. Well, shoot. Hey, look, it stood up on its own this time. How lovely. There are tentacles everywhere. And they do not make them easy to get out. Of course, we had to get one more plastic tag in there to annoy people with. Interestingly enough here, his open hands do have webbed fingers. Probably, I would say, for the swimming in the swamp. Duh. However, his toes do not have webbing between them, so that's kind of weird, because normally if you've got the webbed fingers, you'd have the webbed toes to go with it. Let's take a look at the articulation on him before we start putting together all the crap that came with him. So, we've got the standard arm up and out, can spin there. We got a bicep swivel, can spin around. The double jointed elbows, which are standard. There should be a bicep crunch here, or an ab crunch, but with the helmet here, it's a little bit hard to get that one to work. Legs go out, forward, not very far back. We do still have the thigh cut, or swivel. Double jointed knee, so he can almost kick himself in the butt. We've got the hinge joint at the ankle, and the little spin as well. Actually looks kind of interesting there, doesn't it? I think it stands out, the joint here stands out a little bit more just because the feet are so different. And this is kind of what they should have done with um, the Masterverse version of Whiplash, where the feet were the same color as the rest of the skin and just wore these kind of um, leg warmers. So because of the helmet on his head, you'd have to take off the backpack to swap out the heads. Which apparently is a little bit harder, easier said than done. A face not even a mother could love. Well, let's go ahead and take a closer look at this. So this is, I would assume, supposed to be his angry expression. Urgh. He looks a lot kind of like a troll, like you might see in a sci-fi fantasy series. We got his other head that's not quite as angry, but still kind of angry anyway. And the beady little eyes going on there. I'm wondering, this looks like, actually, when you look at that one, it's a little bit thicker too, like, as if these are supposed to be, are these supposed to be his, like, gill slots there for when he's in the water? Because he's supposed to be, breathe water, and the Masterverse, not the Masterverse, the Classics figure actually, you could fill it with water on the helmet in order to make it look like he was, had the water tank going. So I think that's part of it with this one is out of water, in water, out of water, in water. It's kind of interesting here too, is they've got the tubes here, which I think would also be meant to supply some extra water to his body, though it is really just kind of attached there, so it's more of a stylish thing. And I don't know if there would actually be any real practical purpose for them. But anyway, like most Masterverse ones, there's like no real directions on what you're supposed to do with the equipment here. But let's go ahead and stick with his I'm just gonna call it his gill head. The other one is cuter, but that one looks a little bit more like it fits better as the character. But man, trying to position once you get the harness and helmet on, there's like no real way to rearrange the head there. So we got some different options here, it looks like. We can, of course, attach that to his back, which also looks like you would attach arms to it as well. Although maybe attaching it to his back after you put the arms in would be a better idea. And we got like a trident here. We got a grippy hand here. An anchor for some reason. And I don't know what this is supposed to be other than some kind of weird hook. It also feels a little weird to me that it's got like this oxygen tank to oxygenate, I would assume, the water that would be flowing through here. And I got that upside down. I'm assuming it's upside down. So we can have Slushhead standing like that, with those arms up there being mostly useless. Actually, to be perfectly honest, because there's no real flexibility in the arms themselves, they're all pretty useless. Just a display item, you know? But that also is not the only thing we are given as a means to an end with this, because we also have this weird crystalline backpack that looks like it's got a little brain in it. Can we pull this off? Hey, yeah, we can. Ooh, check that out. Does the helmet come off? Hmm, I don't know. Because this looks like, it does look like you could fit that helmet in here, but I also don't want to break it trying to get it off. But, dude, that's kind of creepy. Because let's go ahead and take the arms from here. Let's see, we got 4 different sets of slots here we can put them in. Look at that. Got his own little head walker thing, kind of like from the Batman animated series with Mr. Freeze during that when they kind of redesigned all the characters and Mr. Freeze's head could pop off of the body and just run around on its own. But of course, we can also put all the arms together on one slot here. Pull the head off, or attempt to pull the head off. We'll put the weird little brain looking thing back in place. And instead of this backpack, we can put this backpack on him instead, making him look even more like Dr. Octopus. Though I will say I kind of like this one better than this one because this is just kind of stupid looking in my opinion. We've got his gun axe. So he can either hold it like this, or chop, 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 or swap it around. And of course, the moment he goes to holster it, he cuts his leg off. Ugh. So we get 2 extra set of hands with him. We get his webbed hands for swimming. If you've got a specific pose you want to put them in with these, that would be great. Most of the time, I have them holding their weapons when I display them, so to be honest, most of the extra hands are kind of useless. We also have his fists, so that you can have him punching things. But I think in the case of Slushhead here, when it comes to my final variation on holding him, I'm just going to have him hold that like the axe. Of course, there's another funny, I guess that would be another funny thing too, is like, ha! Then somebody hits the trigger and he shoots himself in the thigh. God, that is such a dumb idea for a weapon. You know, you look at something like the Keyblades, not the Keyblades, but like the sword guns from some of the Final Fantasy games. At least the gun part is at the end of the sword too, so that, you know, they don't shoot themselves while they're using the sword. Let's see. No, it doesn't seem like this comes off though. It does appear that it is glued in place. Kind of too bad, because it does look like it should be able to fit in there. Oh, I hate this. I really do hate trying to get those in place. Fear me, because I am Slushhead. You will not get away with whatever you're trying to do here. He-Man and I will stop you. Ah, foolish humanoid. Oh, man. There we go. There is nothing you can do to stop me and the rest of the evil mutants. Ha 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 ha. Ah, He-Man, help! There is no one to help you. So far, though, from the New Adventures of He-Man, all we've really gotten from that series is Slushhead here, which I guess he's a fan favorite because I think he was one of the first mutants they also made when they did the classic series. We do have the He-Man, and we also have the Skeletor, neither of which I have handy right now because I'm a dumbass. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this review. Please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace and love.